Hi everyone. Somehow a whole nother week has passed and it is time again to share this weekly conversation we have where I talk about the things I'm decluttering and share some of the lessons that I am learning through this decluttering process. If you've been here before, then you already know I set this goal at the beginning of the year that I wanted to do these weekly videos at least through the end of February, because that would push me to keep going on this decluttering process. And if you're on this, then you know, however we can push ourselves, hold ourselves accountable to this work, the better. That's gonna work out for us. So thank you for being here. Let's just get into what I am decluttering this week, all right? Oh, before we do that though, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It lets me know that you're out there and that we are really in conversation with each other. And then we can also just stay in touch a little bit better. So every week I am trying to put together at least one grocery bag full of stuff that I am releasing from my home, either to the garbage, either to sell, maybe to donate, whatever, just get it out of my house. And I typically share 2 or 3 of those items and some of the lessons that I'm learning through this decluttering process, okay? So let's just get to what's in the bag, okay? First thing in the bag this week are these very old and dusty, what are these called? Outlet covers. We have lived in this house for, I think, maybe 2 years, and these have been in one of the cabinets in our bathroom for that whole time. They're from the family who lived here before us. And why are they still in our home? I have no idea. All of our outlets have covers on them. We don't need old extra ones. I don't know, y'all. They sat in there for 2 years, but I'm finally ready to let them go. Okay. Next thing in the bag this week is this nice bowl. I think it's originally from Target. Yeah, it's from Target. We were using it as a food bowl for one of our pets, and we don't use it because we have another one, and this has been sitting in the closet outside of our bathroom for probably 3 months. So I'm pretty sure that means we don't need it. So this is going in the donation bag this week. Can you tell this is kind of a random assortment, but I am going to get to the lesson that I'm learning here. Okay, last thing that I'm sharing today. This is an empty box. Why do we have this, y'all? This has sat in the top of my 2-year-old's closet. I honestly think since we moved here, since we moved into this house, so probably over a year and a half, maybe 2 years, it has sat up there. And my guess is that we don't need this empty box because we have not used this empty box. So I'm finally ready to release this from our house this week. Okay, so did you notice a theme or a pattern about all the items I'm sharing this week? Yeah, all of these items have sat in our home for several months, several years for some of them. And part of that was because there was a space for them. There was space. And what's interesting about us living in this particular home is that this home has a lot of storage, and it's really been my goal to not use all the storage. So we've ended up with empty drawers and empty cabinets. But what happens then is this really random stuff that there's no way we would ever need these outlet covers, but there was a space for them. And they sat in that space for years. But what happens then, okay? And you might have experienced this yourself. Let's say you have a clutter, a pile of stuff, but you don't really view it as clutter because the pile, you can shut it away. You can shut the door on that cabinet. You can push in the drawer, and then you don't have to deal with the clutter. And it almost feels like it's not clutter because there's a space for it. But what I know, and what you probably know too, is that every time you see something in your home, there is a little really quick, if I was really good at editing, I would just have this mental calculation. I would love to illustrate that, but I'm sure you can imagine it. But there's this mental calculation that we do, and it might take a split second, but we do it every time we see stuff in our home. Do I need this? Does someone else in my home need this? Why is this item here? Is this something I like? Does looking at this make me happy? There are just so many questions that we ask ourselves. A lot of them are probably dependent on what else is going on in our lives. But anyway, so there's stuff that happens, mental stuff that happens. And so sometimes we go through that mental calculation and we see this stuff and we say, whatever conclusion we come to, we just close the drawer and the stuff stays there. But what I know is that accumulation of mental calculation that we are doing, like living through a pandemic, living through all the stress that has been happening the past few years, and now calculating how much my family needs this old collection of outlet covers, like at some point it's just too much. Like it's just too much. And so even though this had a space, there was nothing competing for this shelf in the cabinet. But it was taking up some mental space. And so let it go. Let it go, Candace. That stuff can go. As someone who feels responsible for your home, someone who wants to take care of the stuff around you, I encourage you this week to just ask yourself, is the stuff in front of you worth the mental checklist every time you look at it? Some of it, yeah, like we do need to own stuff. We need to have stuff. And there will always be questions that we ask our stuff. But some of it, like this empty box, every time I open my daughter's closet, it's not worth the mental stuff that I have to go through, even if it's just a split second, even if it's a real fast interaction. Why not save yourself that energy, save yourself that time, and do it on something that you actually care about? So yeah, release your stuff, the stuff that's putting you, the stuff that you know, it's not worth the mental load that it bears. So, as I always say, I know that all this is a journey, and I talk about this. This is our journey to family minimalism. A journey implies that there is work and perhaps there is struggle, there are challenges, but it will be worth it. I know it will be worth it, especially when you think about, at some point there will come a time where all those like little mental calculations that just add up to become stressful and difficult, what if they just were not there anymore? That would be awesome. What if you walked into a room and you could just exhale and breathe? That will be awesome. So I hope that for you. I hope that for me. Good luck. In the meantime, let's plan to meet here again soon in our simplified home with me, Candace, where we can continue to talk about family minimalism and simplifying and all that actually very cool stuff. All right, take care. Bye.